Hello Detroit Lions fans. Welcome to the channel and this big update. Myles Garrett, the Cleveland Browns star edge rusher, shook the NFL world this week by requesting a trade, putting the Detroit Lions at the center of discussions as a possible destination for the player. Before continuing, leave a like to support this video. It doesn't cost anything and it helps us a lot. We have a goal of reaching 2,000 subscribers here on the channel. So help us out with your humble like, and if you are new here, take the opportunity to subscribe. Now stay until the end so you can understand everything. Let's go. The possibility of adding Garrett to the Lions defense is undoubtedly exciting, but the cost could be exorbitant and the negotiations complicated. First of all, for this trade to happen, the Browns need to be willing to trade their top defensive talent, something that sources close to the team say is unlikely. However, Garrett's public request for a trade puts pressure on Cleveland in a way that may be hard to ignore. Requests like this usually create a stalemate. The player shows dissatisfaction, and the team faces a difficult decision between keeping him against his will or accepting an offer that, at the very least, compensates for his departure. Garrett, in his recent statements, has made it clear that he wants to compete at the highest level and fight for titles. The window for us as athletes is narrow and continues to close as the years go by. I want to compete at the highest levels and play for championships, he said. For a player of his caliber, a multiple Pro Bowler and one of the most feared edge rushers in the league, dissatisfaction with the current situation in Cleveland seems to be the main fuel for this request. According to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, conversations within the league indicate that the price for Garrett will be very high. We are talking about at least 2 first-round picks or a first-round pick combined with a high-level second-round pick. In other words, any interested team will have to give up significant draft capital, in addition to competing with other franchises that will certainly also make aggressive offers. Myles Garrett's talent is so immense that everyone I've spoken to agrees he'll yield 2 high-quality draft picks, Fowler wrote. And despite all the interest, the Browns have maintained their firm stance that they have no intention of trading him. However, some executives have acknowledged that they will reach out to Cleveland to gauge their receptiveness to the idea. Why are the Lions a logical destination for Garrett? The Detroit Lions, a team that has surprised the league by establishing itself as a Super Bowl contender, would be an ideal destination for Garrett. The Lions' defense already boasts talent like Aiden Hutchinson, but they lack an elite additional piece to take the unit to the next level. Myles Garrett would be that piece. His addition would not only solidify the defensive line, but it would also put the Lions in an even stronger position to compete in January and, who knows, win the championship they've been dreaming of. The Lions have clear needs at edge rusher opposite Hutchinson. While Zadarius Smith is under contract through 2025, he is already 32 years old, making it uncertain whether he will remain in 2026. Securing Garrett now would be a bold and strategic move to address that long-term gap. Plus, Detroit has the capital to make the trade. With first and second-round picks in 2025 and 2026, the Lions have the flexibility to offer a package that appeals to the Browns. Granted, sacrificing 2 2025 picks would compromise their immediate future in the draft, but that may be a small concession in exchange for a player who can instantly transform a defense. The debate then turns to the question, should the Lions really risk so much for Myles Garrett? The answer appears to be a resounding yes. Garrett is a generational talent, a player capable of changing the course of a game on his own. With a roster already strong and on the rise, Detroit can afford to give up draft picks without compromising its core. A trade, if it happens, would be a bold move that shows the Lions are fully committed to a Super Bowl run now. Garrett wants a competitive team, and the Lions offer just that. With him on the roster, Detroit not only becomes one of the NFC favorites, but it also sends a clear message to the rest of the league. The future is now. While the situation remains to be seen whether the Browns are willing to negotiate and what the final price is, there's no denying that adding Myles Garrett would be a game changer for the Lions. The question remains, Will Detroit's front office have the courage to take such a bold step? Fans certainly hope so. The Detroit Lions are in an interesting place when it comes to the backup quarterback position. As the team prepares for the offseason, an intriguing question arises. Should the Lions consider former number 2 overall pick Zach Wilson as a possible solution? Despite criticism of Wilson's performance in New York, his connections to the Detroit coaching staff and the Lions' talent recovery philosophy could make him an interesting bet. The current backup quarterback situation in Detroit raises questions about the future of 2023 third-round pick Hendon Hooker. While many fans still believe in Hooker's potential, the team's actions and statements over the past year suggest a lack of confidence. From considering keeping 3 quarterbacks over the summer, to the interest in Daniel Jones, the signing of Teddy Bridgewater, and the decision to leave Hooker inactive during the playoffs, the signs are clear. Hooker appears to be falling behind in the team's priorities, and the Lions may be looking for a new name at the position. Among the available options, Zach Wilson stands out as one to watch. The former BYU quarterback didn't perform well during his time with the Jets, but it's important to note the New York franchise's history of difficulty developing quarterbacks. Wilson was Bo Nix's backup in Denver during the 2024 season and worked with John Morton, the Lions' current offensive coordinator. That connection could be the key to bringing Wilson to Detroit and seeing if he can revive his career. Wilson's case is intriguing. Despite his struggles in the NFL, he shares some similarities with Jared Goff, the Lions' starting quarterback. Much like Goff when he arrived in Detroit, Wilson seems to have lost his confidence and credibility as a starter. But with the right environment and proper coaching, there's a chance he could rebuild his career. The Lions coaching trio of Mark Brunell, Ben Johnson, and Dan Campbell have already demonstrated their ability to turn Goff into an MVP-caliber quarterback. While expectations for Wilson are lower, he could still become a reliable and valuable backup for the team. The idea of bringing Wilson into training camp makes sense. He would represent a low risk, since the Lions wouldn't have to invest much to sign him. If it works out, the team gains a solid backup. If it doesn't, they can just move on. Plus, this doesn't have to be the Lions' only move at the position. The 2025 draft will be an important opportunity to scout potential talent in the later rounds, ensuring the franchise is well-positioned for the future. The gamble on Wilson could be a golden opportunity for the quarterback and the Lions. For Wilson, it's an opportunity to prove that he can still be relevant in the NFL. For the Lions, it's a low-cost strategic move that could pay off big. As the offseason unfolds, this is a possibility that deserves attention. After all, sometimes a fresh start in a suitable environment is all a player needs to change his trajectory. Comment now and leave your opinion. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe so you're always up to date here on the Lions News channel. See you soon.